Happy Monday.
Happy Monday. Good morning. Thank you for joining us on the Real Estate Backstory. We do this every Monday morning around 9 o'clock ish. Given
Let's go within 9.
yeah,
You're good.
We'll go with that. And so, we are. Goodness, I'm all flustered this morning, so I apologize. All right, but we kind of go over the comings and goings, everything happening in the real estate market here in the Atlanta area, and so we kind of want to jump into talking about the importance of making sure that we understand how the appraisal market is kind of changing. There's been a shortage of appraisers.
A lot.
And one thing that we've seen is a lot of mortgage companies are moving over to what they call hybrid appraisals. And these hybrid appraisals, what's really happening is they're sort of a version of desktop appraisals. They're allowing people they're allowing appraisers to use assistants to take photographs, and sometimes they're not even going inside the properties. And so one of the biggest issues that we see happening right now comes down to how great are your photos for appraisals. And I know that sounds really bizarre, but for a lot of these hybrid appraisals, all they have to go on is the data that they can find online. And so the quality of the photographs that you're using are going to help to dictate the value of the property now. If that buyer ends up buying that your listing and it's with a hybrid appraisal, they're going to be going like the house could look like the Taj Mahal, but if all you've got is just one or two sloppy pictures and photos taken by your iPhones, it matters. It really does matter. And so we want to make sure that you understand that the appraisal world, there's a huge shortage of appraisals, and so because of that, we have to make sure that our listing descriptions, how great, how well we're articulating, the positive aspects of the property, that kind of stuff. Being willing to share off with appraisers, we'll share with appraisers where we got our values. Not that we're trying to sway values, but we want them to understand. We don't ever just list property just because I say so. We list property based on comparables, and so these are the Mr. Appraiser. These are the comparables that we use, and here's the photos that that a professional real estate photographer took. Those kind of things really will help you in getting your appraisal value set right.
Correct.
So,
well, it's like we just had Easter Sunday. You don't go to Easter Sunday dressing like you're in your sweatshirt or
like a hobo,
your jeans and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You always do your best. So that's what you want to do for your home, is to show its best assets.
So April is Fair Housing Month here in the realtor world, and all in all, we really do believe that I don't know anyone that's intending to go out and not or that's against fair housing, I guess is the right. I mean, everybody is. But that being said, we have some things in our marketplace which opens us up to have some opportunities to make sure that we are doing right when it comes to fair housing. One of those areas that we see happening is in the coming soons. Coming soon is one of those areas where it can be perceived as being, not fair housing, because most of the time we do a coming soon for most people because they're trying to get the buyers. But once you share that coming soon listing, and let's say that if you open that listing up to one particular class of person but not to another,
that's an issue.
It is. How we describe our properties in our listing descriptions, we
describe the characteristic of the property, not the characteristic of a person who may be inhabiting the home. So if you have a gourmet kitchen, that is fine. You can tout the Wolf appliances, Viking, whatever it is that you have, but you can't say perfect for the chef, because when you say chef, that is describing a person
or family or those kind of things. We have to avoid talking about like great backyard for the kids is not so we have to be very careful of what we're doing, because most of the time we're not trying to violate fair housing. It's just one of those things that's very easy to do if we're not being very conscious about what it is. Also, in the ways that we describe our neighborhoods, the exact same kind of thing. Mm-hmm. How we describe schools. And when it comes to schools, safety, how safe is this neighborhood? Are these good schools? Like we can't offer an opinion about school or school quality and that kind of stuff, but we can point the consumers towards, different data sources and resources so that they can make those decisions. We have to
Correct.
be very careful. And then probably the other area where we see the greatest opportunity for violating fair housing is in love letters. A lot of times we're in a very competitive market right now. So our buyer love letters, almost all of them violate fair housing because it's like, oh, my husband and I mean, it can be done, but you have to be very careful because just like Ming said, the same rules apply.
And just a word of caution, you guys, HUD actually has approved a $48 million budget for testers out there right now. So they do have testers that will test you and just pushing your button. So the best way to tell the folks that when they are pushing it really hard, it just said federal law prohibit me from answering that question. And that's all you got to say. And but anyway, there are testers out there. So I just want y'all to be aware. Not to fall in that trap. And
it's not just, there's also different rules around the country. Like right now, the Attorney General in DC, they're filing a lawsuit against for landlords that were not renting out to Section 8. And it's a really big deal. And so, now that it depends on what the rules and the laws are in the particular areas. But we're seeing where there's a lot more rules and regulations coming in regarding Section 8. And so we have to be very careful of that. One thing that we do kind of recommend that you do is like if you're a realtor, then you have the opportunity to join in what's called Fairhaven. Fairhaven, it's this kind of make-believe town or situational town kind of thing. A lot of times, being in the boards, we've done this as part of our board affiliations. You can go to fairhaven.realtor.com, and then you can go in and this is all about helping you point out your own personal biases and making sure that all things that we're doing.
You don't realize you're doing that, and but this is a good, I guess, awakening call.
Yeah. So we just have to be smart. This is a great time for us to have that come back to Jesus kind of thing about making sure that we got our duckies in a row here.
Correct.
All right. So for our fourth straight week, mortgage rates have fallen. Yes.
I can't wait until it gets underneath. But we're
moving, and even though it shows 6.25, we're actually seeing where some lenders are even better than that. We've seen 6.05 and things like that over this past week. So we are seeing mortgage rates continue to fall from our peak right now. From where the interest rates were to where they are right now, it's already a savings of about $140 a month. And just in these savings. And so when the interest rates were at this point starting in January, that's when we really started to blow up. And we're seeing that, like the demand is starting to get there. However, it's inventory that's really hurting us, right? So because our inventory is so tight, mortgage applications actually dropped last week, even though we saw interest rates. And so it's this really weird time we have right now where mortgage rates and demand can't kind of find the middle ground because, as mortgage rates come down, what we're not seeing is an uptick in inventory like we traditionally do right now. New overall total inventory is really, really tight. And so we need more inventory out there, and all that we can do to try and get more inventory is very, very much needed right now. So CoreLogic came out and they released the most, March's numbers on property values, and overall property value increases month over month was 8%. They're running, currently we're running 4.4%. And I can't tell you how wonderful that is, because that is as normal as I've ever seen it, right? If you put out property value appreciation over the last 50 years, it's 4.4%. And so seeing that property value appreciation is in the normal range, we're not in double digits, we're not in massive, crazy growth, that kind of stuff. And these are on national numbers. Now, even though that's being said, and they're predicting it being in that 3.7% is kind of the forecast, and I think somewhere in that 3 to 5% is a very accurate number where we're probably going to be. What you'll see is that the country is not even, and so you can see that like here in Georgia, we're one of the states that are redder, and so the darker red, the more the property value appreciation is, and so we are seeing a little bit higher property value appreciation because out in the West Coast. Some of the West Coast has actually seen a drop in property
appreciation. Yep.
And so you can't take all these
Well,
numbers.
they actually had one of the highest appreciation during
Yep.
pandemic. So
Same kind of
that's
thing.
what's happening now.
And so you can see that this is what it looks like month over month. As far as like here, pretty much the whole Sun Belt, Georgia, that kind of stuff. There is, we're 0.2 to 0.4% a month in property value appreciation. This is one of the reasons why we want to point this out is we're having buyers who are coming into the market now, and their big comment is, when's the market going to crash? Am I going to be losing money if I buy now? Is my home worth going to be, am I buying at the top of the market and then I'm going to end up losing? Look, we're not seeing property values decline, and there is no reason. Matter of fact, we have this huge millennial group that's coming in wanting to buy houses. We have more demand for housing than we have housing to supply right now. And so just the simple economics of supply versus demand, we're not seeing property values decline. And that's important for me to be able to articulate that with especially first-time buyers. They're going to be very anxious, and they want to understand what's going on. And is their money safe? And can I feel comfortable recommending that they continue to buy? Absolutely, right. I can. And so we want you to feel that way as well. So, the top markets that are listed as being at risk for a price decline, guess where they're not?
Not in here.
Not in here, right? We're not seeing that our
That's
markets.
Interesting. Even though Florida is one of higher demand, but you can see in certain pockets of Florida, it is declining pretty quickly.
Well, but those same places saw massive property value increases. And so what you're seeing are most of these are like, these Zoom cities that when they just kind of blew up, during and after COVID. And so now they're, it's all kind of coming back. Everything's starting to be a little bit more relevant.
Well, they're leveling out to where they need to be.
Yep. And so, overall, our total listings, and you can see where we sit on our total number of listings. And so, yeah, we are up over last year, but barely. And so, last year was, we've been fighting supply versus demand for a long time. And you can see that just total inventory, the number of listings we have, is the lowest other than last year that we've had for the last 5 years.
If you look at the red, between the red and pink line, that's pre-pandemic, the red. And so you can see how much gap we have in inventory.
Yeah, you can see the top 3 lines that represents pre-pandemic, like Ming was saying. And you look how much lower we are. We don't have enough listings. And so, our total, in the same time, how about new listings? Well, look at new listings. New listings are the lowest. I mean, and you can see what happened in 2020 with when COVID hit, and we're still, like even then we have a chance to not be very much more where we went with listings when COVID hit. So like total listings of properties. This is the thing that's holding our market back right now is inventory. It's like we're seeing property values, continue to appreciate, but we're seeing interest rates drop. And as that's happening, we just don't have enough inventory. And that's the thing that's really pushing our market right this minute. And so you can see that on a national level, you can see what like as far as like total new listings, this year we've got less than 1,954,000. But you can see back in 2017, we had 1,300,000 kind of thing.
Yeah.
Well, almost 1.4 million listings. And so
it's 1.5 times what our current inventory is.
Yeah, but look, but now, we're 6 years later and we have a larger population. Now the millennials, back then, baby boomers was our largest population group. Now the millennials is. So we have more buyers, more potential buyers, and less inventory.
Right.
And so, our pending listings. So pending listings are, our pending sales are down. They're not where they have been, but you can kind of see what's kind of going on with the trend here. We're higher than we were pre-pandemic,
which is a good thing.
Yeah, a lot of times we think, gosh, and we always kind of get into that. This is the new normal. This is how normal is. But when you look at really where was, the years before COVID, those were good days in the real estate world. Those were, we did very, very well during those years, 2017, 18, 19. And gosh, to be up over those years right now, you wouldn't think, man, we're down. Yes, we're down from where we were, but if you look,
those 3 years has been a wonky year, so they're not the norm. the
They aren't.
standard norm.
So I guess what I'm saying is it ain't that bad, right? And plus we are trending up in a positive way right now. Matter of fact, we are going to start passing them. So days on market continues to go down. We keep seeing that. At the same time, our median list price continues to go up. So we're seeing where our properties are not depreciating in value. One thing I did want to point out really quickly here on our pending sales, like look what happens next month in pending sales. Like if you look at
historically, that's when it bumps up.
That like we're going to see that jump up for us here. All of a sudden, we're going to start moving in a very positive way, kind of thing. And so, just kind of like on newly listed homes. So, I'm going the wrong way.
Yes, you are.
Sorry, in case you weren't sick to your stomach, I'm going to make sure it goes that way. So, price reductions, we are seeing where our price reduced share is improving from where it was overall. It's not great, but we are seeing where price reductions are going down. We are seeing less of those. And so overall in our market, for the Atlanta Sandy Springs market, median price $410,000. We're still seeing where the property values are appreciating. The list price is up about 2.5%.
All right.
Our new listings are down 16% versus last year. So I mean, just in our particular market. And so 13% of our listings are having a price reduction, which is about 7% higher than last year. So, there is some reality kicking in with
in some areas.
Yeah.
So now that just depends on what areas Atlanta you're in.
Yep. So our builder confidence is bouncing back a bit. So, we're starting to see where the builders are feeling a lot more bullish. Expect to see a lot more of that. And so part of the reason why you're going to see the builders feeling a lot more optimistic is there's a lot of money coming into the builders. So all the builder stocks are starting to ramp up right now.
Mm-hmm.
And when Wall Street and that kind of stuff and investors put a lot of money into those builders, they got to turn around and do something with that money.
So what happened is that some of the builders are building a whole entire subdivision for investors.
Yeah. Well, that's not what this is. These are just overall for our builders right now. So Opendoor is upping incentives for agents. And so this is Opendoor has been, and I'm not trying to bash Opendoor. That's not where I'm going here on this, but Opendoor has been struggling a little bit. I think they lost $1 million last quarter or something, or billion.
They lost some money.
They lost a lot of money.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to figure out where they sit in the marketplace right now. And so what I'm trying to point out to you is that all of a sudden Opendoor is being very, very accommodating with agents. So whereas they were currently doing commissions at 1%, now they're bumping commissions to 3% on the first 3 transactions. And these are for referrals. So like if you like let's say you have a seller who's interested in selling and they like to know what Opendoor, you can go in and submit that, and they're paying a 3% bonus right now to that listing agent. So it's not always right for every client. We don't mean that, but by the same token, it's nice to see that they're opening up and being very accommodating to agents. I want to completely change gears really quick here and talk about video, because video is continuing to evolve in our marketplace, and video is really a big deal. I mean, obviously we think video is a big deal because we're on video right now. And so going live, recording videos, YouTube channels, that kind of stuff. So, just some of the big stats that you really need to know is that, people are on average watching about 17 hours. They're almost watching an entire day of video a week, right? I mean, they're at 17 hours of video, and that works out. What's that work out today per day, Ming? You're my math whiz.
That made me think. It's Monday.
Okay. A lot of video.
About 17 divided by 7.
Yeah.
That's
so
easy.
2.5 hours, something like that.
Yeah.
Every day that folks are watching videos. And so, the question for us is, should we be doing more video? Yes or yes?
Yes and yes.
Absolutely. Right. So people are 52% more likely to share video content rather than any other content out there. I
know, because he watched TikTok.
That's it. So, but video is a really big deal. The other thing is that the association between video and brands is greater than it's ever been in the time that we've been in real estate. People will be very engaged with brands much more so. I mean, we see it, we've been seeing it kind of trending on Instagram, especially. Instagram has been one where brands and consumers really interact on a large scale. But we're seeing where overall that video and brands and consumers is a really nice place on there. 66% of consumers are watching video to learn about brands or products. And guess what, folks? You're a brand, right? And so what we're doing really matters, and they're watching out there. Now, what do they want to do? And so about 32%, 33%, they want to relax, unwind.
That would be Alan.
Well, but and that's true. But, people are, like another quarter of folks want to be entertained, and then folks want to, their interests, their passions, learning something new, escaping daily life. And so, can you be interesting, but also can you educate? Can you entertain?
Absolutely.
It doesn't mean you have to stand up and tell jokes the whole time, because folks will watch, your content. You just have to be willing to throw it out there, to have the testicular fortitude to put yourself out there and just kind of be ready to go for it, right? Because what's really important is that it's real. It's not that it has to be perfect. It doesn't have to be laid out. I mean, but people get to get a feeling and a sense of who you are and what it would be like to work with you. It's so important that we be willing to put ourselves out there.
Correct.
Now, what's the best length? Overall, I think 83% of the talking heads say that, videos at a minute are like the really sweet spot. But you can see that, 36% of the video watching folks want 1 to 3 minute videos. And we kind of see that those are really good times. 4 to 6 minutes is another quarter, 25%. Now, a lot of the videos that we make are much longer, but you can do short form or long form video. It just kind of depends on what you're doing. We like doing kind of both, where you have some short form video that sends you to longer video, and all that works out well. But really, at the end of the day, it's are you gonna make a commitment to put yourself out there? Because it's so important that we do that. I did want to kind of share with you RPR. RPR is, you have to be a realtor for it. And I know everybody who watches this is not necessarily realtors, but this is one of those things that if you are a realtor, this is a free member service, right? There's no extra fee for this.
Right. The only way you can get it is be a realtor. I'm not trying to push it, but there is some benefit being an association.
And they have a ton, like one thing that we're always looking for is a lot of content that we can share out, whether it's on video or not. But we're looking for content that we can share out that kind of show us being the subject matter expert. Correct. And the market industry experts. And there's all kinds of information that you can pull out of RPR. Please consider exploring it. RPR has 2 or 3 webinars every single week where they go through and how to prospect, how to
winning listing
everything. I mean, it's all in there. You can do CMAs in RPR. There's so many tools and benefits that you can really take advantage of in RPR. So if you're a realtor, please explore it. It's one of the most underutilized tools that realtors have. And it drives me crazy because it's free, right? We already paid for it.
Free 99.
Free 99, baby. All right, this week, so tomorrow we have our monthly sales meeting, and so that's going to be in all of our offices. Please, we don't care. Come join.
And honestly, yep. Alan does put out a lot of information aside from backstories to our internal group. So you're more than welcome. Just join us.
Yep. Then on Wednesday, Ming is going to be teaching
code ethics.
She's going to be able
you need that. I think the cycle just started this year, and it's good for 3 years. Yep. So you have to have it every 3 years as a board member. Now, if you're not a member, love for you to come, and you still get CE credit.
And then while she's teaching code of ethics, I'm going to be teaching negotiation over in the Fayetteville office. So you'd much rather come to negotiation. And my class is going to be way more fun than I'm just stating facts. That's
you gotta know how to practice before you negotiate.
I'm way more fun.
Thanks.
Anyway, and then on Thursday we have 1031 real estate exchanges. That really is, an exceptionally
really
great
good class.
If you work with any kind of investors, that kind of stuff, it is a super one to really kind of jump into.
And once again, KB Core. So for agents that wants to learn about KB Core, please. First of all, make sure you have the product, because otherwise you're going through a training process. You have no anything to practice with.
Yeah.
So agents, we encourage you come to our offices and to KB Court training.
Well, great. I hope you guys have a wonderful week. If we need any service, please call, text, smoke signals. Have a
Thank
great
you.
week.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Happy Monday.